The mask is calling. As a child, Rick Taylor had sensed them calling to him in the darkness, tearing at the walls that separate this world from the other. Then he met Jennifer, and in the light of her love, his childish fears dissipated like a bad dream. When the evil Dr. Henry West kidnaps Jennifer, Rick is plunged once more into darkness. He discovers that the nightmare creatures from his childhood are waiting there for him. Left for dead on the floor of West Mansion, Rick makes a pact with the mysterious and sinister terror mask. It offers to save Rick's life in return for one thing: blood, and lots of it. Rick is transformed into a brutal killer by the power of the terror mask. He pursues Dr. West on a journey through time and terror, battling hordes of the undead and risking his soul to save the woman he loves. Welcome to Splatterhouse. Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for taking the time to check this out. Made some custom figures from the game Splatterhouse. This is actually from the 2010 version. I am guilty of never having played the Nintendo versions. However, on the 2010 version, whether you get it on PlayStation or Xbox, when you beat the game, you actually unlock the 3 originals from Nintendo, which is pretty sweet. So, I had a ton of fun making these. A lot of Instagram love on these. A lot of people really wanted to see kind of how they turned out. So here's my video review of how they go. I guess I will go ahead and start with Jennifer. All right, so Jennifer, pretty basic here. She was actually, the base body is mostly used from the Netflix Electra, which I had left over from a previous figure that I had done. Didn't need the body, so body type seemed to work out really well. Upper torso, I believe, was from a Polaris figure, if I'm not mistaken. Just went ahead and obviously repainted that, and I sculpted the bottom of the shirt on there as well. Sculpted the sleeves on, and then obviously the watch as well. The shoes come from Spider-Gwen action figure, which worked out really well because Jennifer had pink shoes, and, you know, wouldn't you know it, Spider-Gwen had pink shoes as well. So the face is from the Walgreens exclusive Marvel Legends Emma Frost, and then they took the hair off of the Agent Sharon Carter figure from the Captain America Red Skull Build-A-Figure line, and then popped one off, glued one on, and did a little bit of painting on the face. So nothing too complicated here, but I had a lot of fun making her. Probably some of the, at that point, the best jeans that I had done. And, sorry, Marshmallow's getting into shit right now. Damn cat's fucking up my video. But, learned a new technique. Tried actually doing a base coat with black, and then a base coat with blue on my airbrush, coming through with a dry brush of white, repeating over again, and really got an effect there on the jeans that I actually really liked. So all the standard articulation you would expect from Marvel Legends. It has the neck joint there, so head can move on it as well as back and forth. Shoulder joints up and down as well as around, with no paint rub as well. So got the bend in the arms as well as the rotation. Same thing with your wrists. Does pretty well at the actual waist joint here. Managed to Dremel it out really well to where she actually moves pretty freely without scratching any paint. Kind of same thing with the leg joints here up into the hip. Had to do some dremeling out so they wouldn't obviously scratch while I was bending and posing. And then double jointed knees like you would expect from Marvel Legends. That one's a little tight, but once again sculpted over the peg holes there. I always like to do that, just going to get rid of those and make the least amount of, you know, action figure like looks on a figure as possible. And then, as before mentioned, swiveling of the shoes, and voila, there you go. Fun random fact about Jennifer: in 2010, as a promotional item, she actually appeared as a centerfold in Playboy. Anyway, on to Rick. So Rick, before I covered him in blood, was easily one of the best flesh tone paintings I have done. Kind of a little bit hard to tell now, you know, obviously, because, yeah, he's spattered in blood from a game where, you know, he becomes splattered in blood to, you know, fuel his mask. But anyway, with that, if you follow me on Instagram, there are a lot of progress pics on there to kind of see how that flesh tone turned out. It's definitely something I'm going to use for the future here. I'm hoping to make a Schwarzenegger-based Conan figure in the near future, and I'm really hoping to use those techniques I learned with the flesh. So Rick is made from a Hulk, Red Hulk figure for that matter. For all of those of you out there who have seen me deface a Red Hulk and are now pissed at me, I do apologize, but like I've said before, not as big of a comic guy, so I managed to get my hands on a Red Hulk from the store, didn't have to pay ridiculous prices on eBay, and I knew when I made a Rick figure I was going to make him off of a base Hulk of a Hulk figure, so that's what I did here. But basically, if you do follow me on Instagram, all I did for the head was I actually sculpted sculpting clay over the Hulk face, made a mold of it, casted it, and then peeled off the sculpting clay so it preserved the Hulk head. So now I have a random Hulk head just chilling in my collection. So other than that, didn't really do any sculpting other than I actually dremeled down the waistline so I could have his underwear sticking out there, sculpted on the belt, and then once everything was done, I actually drilled out some holes where I could actually put the chain in there as well. One thing that I did do was actually sculpt the shoes onto actually a casted pair of Hulk feet, so I could preserve the Hulk feet once again. So I have a random Hulk head and 2 feet just chilling up in my collection as well. So with that, it's all done with Aves epoxy, except for right around the legs. And what I did is actually use Sugru on that because they do bend and they rub, and I did not want it to rub paint off. Oddly enough, though, with a little bit of the paint coming off here and there, because it is that red underbase from the Red Hulk, he actually don't really notice. So kind of a good thing about splattering him in blood. So like most larger figures on the scale of Marvel Legends, he's got really good waist rotation. I actually did bring the head down, or up, I should say, a little bit from where it was, because it's set pretty low on the figure, and I didn't want it to get any kind of rubbing going on when you were posing the head. So with that, it actually has the kind of butterfly joint there as well, so the arms can kind of go back, where it can be posed like so. Thankfully, I actually didn't have to do any dremeling at all in the hip joint. They actually managed to get that fairly loose, so those move freely without any kind of rubbing. And then what I had done is I had painted most of the figure before I actually reattached the bottom pieces of the pants, and then just kind of painted those on their own, cut a slit in them, put them back on, and then super glued them on, and it worked really well. So they are right where they need to be. The feet are a little bit bigger than I had hoped for, but sculpting over the Hulk feet and trying to make the shoes proportionate and make him to where he stands, I think they turned out all right. I think any kind of smaller, as the weight of the figure, it's a pretty heavy figure. If you own the Red Hulk, I feel a feeling it would just fall over. So moving on to the back here, so you can kind of see, busted his chain. Damn it. We're experiencing some technical difficulties here. Thankfully, good thing about being a customizer, I know a guy who can fix that. But anyway, with that, there's a look at the back. Like I'd mentioned before, I thought Jennifer were the best denim pants that I've ever done. using that same technique. Improving upon that, it turned out much better for Rick. So that is pretty much my review. Other than I just basically went through and used a brush to splatter Rick in blood, so to speak. It's actually a Tester's brand red, dark red paint of the gloss color. And I bet you never guess where I painted him at too, huh? He has an alternate set of hands here that can act as the punching hands. You can mix and match the two to get whatever kind of desired effect you're going for. So there you have it, my custom figures of Rick and Jennifer from Splatterhouse. Been wanting to make these ones for a long time, and finally glad I got around to doing it, as Secret Santa is starting soon, and I will be taking up on my time here for about 3-4 months. So thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. If you don't subscribe already, I wouldn't mind if you do. Plenty more videos to come here in the future, and we will go from there. So once again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed.